right, we're on the second day of April, and overnight it took a shocking dive for no apparent reason. We've gone down to the bottom of the channel that I drew here, and there doesn't seem to be any end in sight to this drop, but I keep thinking that surely it will stop here soon. Kind of looking ahead, trying to find maybe a good support. The Fibonacci line here at 237 is like 20 points below where it is right now, so that's possible. I do think perhaps the bottom of the channel is a decent support as well, but it just keeps dropping through that. So here are the 5 and 15 minute charts, more short term. Just kind of trying to figure out where it might go. And you can see, even the RSI is just super low, and the MACD is like trading way below the average line here. And this looks like a death cross, way below the average line too. So, it just keeps dropping. So anyway, I decided after watching it for quite a while, I went ahead and just put in a short order here, thinking that perhaps that would be a good trade. And I kept playing around with channels. You can see I tried to draw another channel here as possible support there. And I think the Fibonacci lines, I can't remember if it was here or a little bit later, I was playing around with possible places that might go different if I rearrange them differently. So I put my order in here, and it does look like it probably is going to meet that. Kind of bounced a little bit. And this is a pretty big bounce. It doesn't happen very frequently. And since I'm expecting a bounce at any time, I'm very cautious right here. And I don't know that it's going to drop any further. So I went ahead and got out here. Very small profit, $75. And then it kind of stopped and started to go down again a little bit. I did a long position here, which I'm not sure was the best call. Kind of leveled out. So this is actually a pretty decent sign that it's possibly going to be going up when it just kind of stops its drop for a while. I haven't really seen that. You can see there's a pretty clear bottom right there. And any other time that it's done that hasn't lasted for more than maybe 4 or 5 candles. So we've already surpassed that. You can see here there's like 7 candles that have developed. So, okay, the opening bell is in like 42 seconds, and we are definitely seeing some green upward momentum there. Kept my limit order following the gold SMA down, which is a pretty conservative place to go and a reasonable place for it to be, to expect it to go. Okay, the opening bell showed a little bit of a red candle, but then it actually went up, and I keep lowering that limit order down. So got out there at a really good profit. So now I'm sitting at 237.50 with 2 trades. So that's very good, because sometimes when it has a drop that big, kind of unexpected, and it just like there's no end in sight. It's really hard to trade because you keep thinking that it's near the bottom, but yet it's not really showing signs quite yet of turning. I mean, we're just seeing the beginnings of it. You can see, there's 2 green candles here now. There's one on the longer term chart here, and you can definitely see a curve going up. However, now the MACD and the RSI have recovered a lot. And so you've already, I don't know, there's not like a lot of upward momentum yet to show, but it's already dropped quite a ways. So this is not a very good trading day, honestly. Okay, I decided that a short would be good now because it hit that gold SMA and acted like it was resistance, and the MACD is turning over. So here's my short position, got in here, and it's going to test that ceiling again. Drop back down a little bit, got a pretty conservative order in here and raised it up just a smidge and got out. My third trade is also profitable. So now I'm sitting at 375. So that was actually pretty good. Okay, and we are definitely seeing the drop leveling off. And this purple line is actually part of this channel, the channel going up. So it's not actually a price line, but it's a pretty good marker anyway. Kind of help us to identify where it might be bouncing. Okay, we're seeing possibly the momentum changing, slowing down, that's dropping, and maybe a turn. So I got in a long position here near the bottom, near that support. I got in there and it dropped a little bit more. So now I'm getting a little bit concerned here because the downward trend is still in play here until we actually see a turn going up. So it is a little bit premature. Okay, decided nope, it's broken through some of the supports now, so I do think it's probably going to keep dropping. And the Fibonacci line here at the 237, it's pretty close to that. So I mean, that's not that far down there. So I'm thinking that might be a pretty good support that it's heading to. So I'd like to reverse, but I just would like to wait for it to be a good place to do so. So I put in 2 orders, so it actually would get out and then get into a short at this point here. And I'm waiting for it to bounce up and go to that gold SMA and then do that very thing. Okay, so got one tick below that. And it didn't quite make it. It went up and then it kind of petered out. And so I went ahead and lowered it. I actually did a market order. I actually pushed the reverse button so it would just do it wherever and whenever. So that actually didn't go so bad, though unfortunately I did lose most of the profit that I made from those first 3 trades. Okay, but I do think being in a short is not a bad place to be. So I put in my limit order right at that Fibonacci line, and the MACD is looking like it's good for turning over here soon, and it's now in a profitable place. And it dropped down to that line here that I drew as the channel line, and I was concerned that it would bounce back up, so I put in my stop order, and it did take. I got stopped out, but it was still a really good profit on that last one, so I got my amount back up to 287. Haven't canceled this order quite yet, but I'm going to. Okay, so just kind of watching it. Okay, that was a pretty good size bounce right there. And so when it hit that right through here, I tried to do another short. Unfortunately, I got in and it continued to go up. So it went up and kind of broke through that gold SMA just a little bit more even than it did before. So the downward momentum is still slowing down. We haven't completely turned and gone up yet, but the downward momentum is starting to slow down. So yes, being in a short is still a good idea, but I do expect any moment for it to go up. So here I did a reverse because it just was not wanting to drop here. And I got into a long position, which was a very good call. Put an exit order in up at this gold, there, the blue SMA. And it does look like this is a higher low than over here. And we're seeing a divergence here with the RSI. We're gaining momentum going up, and it's kind of flat here. So these are pretty good signs. Okay, and it went up a little bit further, and we kind of leveled off right here, which is our kind of temporary new support right here. And we saw a wick that just went up real quick and then came back down again, which was interesting. Kind of a rejection candle that direction, so that's a little bit concerning. Okay, you can see that as the blue SMA drops down, as this goes flat through here, I need to be lowering my limit order through that point. And we're seeing some up and down movement, and finally it went up. And so that is definitely looking like we are gaining upward momentum now. So that order took, and now I'm at 550. And so I've actually met my goal for the day, and it's 10 o'clock. And I was pretty happy with that. And I went back and looked at the chart again. I thought, man, you know, this is just turning. This is really a pretty good time to be getting in. I mean, this looks good. The MACD looks good. This might be one of those days where I could actually make the 800 instead of just the 500. If I could just make even one more really good trade, I'd be really happy. And I've got just a little bit of time. I mean, 10 o'clock is still fairly early. I like to try to be done at 10:30. So I went ahead and put in one more order. My limit over here, it was a long. And it kind of dropped, unfortunately, but the MACD still looks good. So, you know, I think not too worried yet, but then it drops some more. And it's like, oh, darn, it's going down and I'm losing my profit. And then it went down some more, and now I'm down to 162 profit. And it's like, man, I was at my goal. I should have just left well enough alone. So here we are looking at a possible turn. I'm still hopeful for it to go up, kind of leveled off here. And then it didn't make it up very far. And so I decided, nope, I think we're going to drop some more. So I did a reverse at this point, which I think was not a very good idea, all things considered. I mean, the MACD looks good here, but we are kind of sitting at that Fibonacci line support. And I don't know that it's going to drop too much more. I don't know. I'm feeling bad about my trade. And I've just, you know, having met one's goal and then doing something stupid like that and losing it all again, it really messes with your mind. So here I'm sitting in a short position, and now it's starting to go up again. And so I've lost money on the last two trades that I've made. And thinking, what a foolish thing that I've done, and feeling very sorry that I did it. So I'm in a short, and it's going up, and it broke through resistance levels up here again. And I just kind of wish I could have pushed the undo button. Sometimes you just wish you could just have an undo button in life. All right, I got to keep my head on straight and try to make the best of what I have. So I'm going to try to do another reverse order, and I put it in down here near the bottom of this level right here, because I think it'll probably drop down to that point, and then it will probably go up. So we're starting to see some big candles that are red and green. You know, they're alternating. They're starting to change that momentum. Didn't drop very far. And now we're seeing a golden cross with our SMAs develop here as the gold one gets closer to the blue one. And then, you know, as soon as those cross over, then you will really see an upward momentum begin to develop. So I really don't want to maintain that short position. So I went ahead and put it in a little bit higher right here, and it took it. So now I've switched again to a long position, and it is 10:42 now, and I really need to be done. I need to go. And so I made a decision that I was going to leave it in and put my order in. Let's see if I can find it. So it went flat for a while. I've waited as long as I possibly could. Here I'm in a profitable position for this particular trade, but I'm basically at a very small loss for the day at this point. Okay, so it kind of trickled down a little bit, but again, not too far. All right, so I came back at 11:09, and I was ready to walk out the door and trying to figure out where I should put my order in. So I put it in up here because that is where I would need to get out in order to meet my goal for the day. And it kind of looks like a pretty good spot, actually, because we're seeing that That's where the gold SMA is, and then that's kind of a little shelf right there. It almost matches this blue SMA on the 5-minute chart. I mean, it's not a bad spot. It's a long ways up there, but I've done worse, so I'm pretty sure it's done with the drop. I'm almost 100% certain of that. How long it will take to get up to that point, I don't know. But so I walked away and I left this order in. Unfortunately, I did miss that it was a day order. So when I checked the let's see, what did I do here? Got out here at a small profit. I forgot about this trade. Okay, so I got out here. So I'm out. And I did a little bit of a short trade right here. And that didn't go so well. So I did a reverse one more time. And this, I think, is where okay, that's where it was. So I actually got into a long position right here. And then I left and I went to work. So while I was gone, it dropped down again. But it was a higher low. And then it started to go up. And then when I got off work and checked the market had closed, but you can see that it had gotten up almost all the way to that point where I needed to get out to meet my goal for the day. So I was very happy about that. Not terribly surprised, actually, because I had said that it was going to go back up, and I didn't know how far. But I ended the day at a pretty good place. I made the $417.44 when you take out all the commissions for all those trades. And so, it could have been a lot worse. And the great news is I'm now over my $26,000 point so that I can trade starting tomorrow. I can start trading 2 contracts, which was kind of my whole goal to begin with. It just took me a couple of days to get up to that point. So thanks for joining me.